Hi there, my name is Kay Moon, and I am a twin flame channel and Western astrologer. And this is a video about the new moon in Leo taking place on July 28th, 2022 at 1:54 p.m. If you happen to be on the eastern seaboard of the United States, please check a time zone converter for your local time. This is a video for the Divine Counterpart Collective. A couple of announcements before I begin. Q&A with Kay is about to get started. And if you have not signed up, if you are on the fence, I strongly recommend you take this opportunity to do so, especially if you have been struggling through the first half of the year emotionally, energetically, and in connection. This year's Q&A with Kay theme really deals with union with self themes because that's the theme for this union window as the divine counterparts come together in the sign of Aries, Aries being the sign of the I am and the self. This year's Q&A with Kay is really going to help you understand how to anchor union with self energy, self-love energy, which is a huge theme for this new moon, to within yourself so that it's available and accessible within your connections. My signature 4-week private mentorship program is only available once a year for a live experience of it. And I'm never sure if I'm going to be called to do it the following year. As I've mentioned a lot in all of the lunation videos, energies are shifting for everyone. They're certainly shifting for me too. And there's always a chance that, I may shelve it and work on other projects going forward. This private mentorship program is 144 USD. And that's the same price as a single 30-minute reading with me, but instead you get 8 to 12 hours worth of time and content with me and the opportunity to be coached by me directly in a private group of people who are also doing the work. Okay. This particular year, we're going to talk about specifically ending the purification process for divine counterparts, that period of time where your counterpart's not available, but it's been such a unifying spirit for or unifying experience for heart, mind, body, and spirit for you that you've been unable to open to anyone else. We're going to talk about ending the process and opening to love again. We're going to talk about reframing separation, where your separation experiences have been an experience of feeling like you're unable to be present with yourself. We're going to talk about where you can find the union energy with self in that separation, because there's a difference between being in union with self in separation and just shutting down, running. I put it all out there. Now it's all up to them. Not union with self. We're going to talk about reframing union, and we're going to talk about the self forgiveness and compassion process necessary to have that union with self. There's so many people who have been in a place of self blame, self shame when it comes to the way things are unfolding in their connection via this union window. I'm here to tell you there's a reason why it's unfolding the way that it is. And in the reframing union session, we're going to talk about your access points to union with self. We're also going to talk about coming into union in that final session and balancing the triggers. And the triggers are going to be with us. If you thought the first 6 months of this year were intense, they will be with us for the next 18 months. The process gets easier when you're in a supportive community that's helping you to facilitate change. Okay. So, the thing that I wanted to extend to those of you who know you want to get in and you've been on the fence, I have made the decision to extend the bonus material Q&A with Kay 2021 and 2020 to those who register within 72 hours, or sorry, not 72, 24 hours of this broadcast, because we start in less than 2 days. So if you have been like, I'm not sure, or I really want to do it, but now I don't have the bonus material, because that divine mirrors content that we did last year was rich. That divine mirrors content is what allowed you to see through the 7 divine mirrors for divine counterparts where your connection is reflecting your work back to you. Critical piece of information as we move through the next 18 months, because you cannot heal what you cannot see, what has not been revealed to you. And if it's just been a point of triggering and irritation with no solution, that bonus material plus this year's Q&A with Kate will help you finally get it so that you can get moving. All right. So register within the 24 hours of this live broadcast, and I will extend that bonus material to you too. Now, if you are already enrolled in Q&A with Kay, everyone already enrolled up to this point will receive that bonus material, whether you were one of the first 77 or just after that, as soon as the refund window closes. Okay. So, refund window is up until the day this registration closes. After registration closes, refund window is closes, and that is when I will release all bonus material to all participants. Okay, beloveds, this is your chance. We're going to navigate this union window energy together, and it will be an opportunity for all of us to up level within the collective for ourselves, our counterpart, our missions, our families, and our soul groups. And I am thrilled to be able to have you with me. Link to get into Q&A with Kay is just below this video. I sincerely hope to see you there. Okay, so, and lastly, if you are the kind of person who just is like, I don't do groups, or the timing doesn't work for you, you can always book a private session with me. The first week of August is wide open. I would love to work with you, and that'll be your private way to get your questions answered about how to work with the triggers in this union window, especially if you have a situation that you feel is unique. You might like a little more privacy to unpack it. Private session is the best way to do that, and I would love to work with you. Okay, so the theme for this new moon in Leo is healing distortions in masculine energy. And I really unpacked this at great length in the Lightworker Energy Update. So if you haven't listened to that, I strongly recommend that you pause this, go back, listen to that, and then come back and listen to this, because the context in which I'm speaking from will make sense once you have the full astrological picture. I'm shortcutting this and almost making this as a part 2 from the Lightworker Energy Update, which is part 1. If you're a real student of astrology, you love understanding the way the pieces fit together, I recommend you listen to that, then come back to this, because I'm not going to recap all of that, because it was like a 20-minute, maybe 15, maybe 10-minute explanation of why this is about specifically healing distortions in masculinity. Okay. Now, what's interesting about this, so here's that new moon here, in the sign of Leo. And we've got the major conversation here being to the planet I read as divine masculine energy. That's Jupiter in the sign of Aries. Both Leo and Aries are signs that are very centered around our relationship with self in one way or another. Leo is all about our own creativity. It's all about our sovereignty and the power with which we move through and navigate our lives. That Aries energy is all about our essence, our selfhood, our individuality, right? And so, because these two things are speaking harmoniously to one another in this way, and there's also, other planetary energies. Again, I'm not going to get into all of them that are speaking to healing when it comes to our connections and the way we're showing up in them. The thematic I'm seeing has to do with coming into that union with self energy, Aries, sign of the self, Leo, self sovereignty, in ways that allow us to be a more self actualized, more whole version of our divine masculine energy. So, the way the information came through for this lunation, if you're a longtime listener, you know that I like to start with the divine feminine energy, talk about the divine masculine energy, and then talk about any coupled energy, like energy that flows with the two of them together. However, this energy is just so focused in a lot of ways. on the energy because it's heavy fire as opposed to, any of the other energies here, as opposed so it's not focused on a person, it's not really focused on, a polarity, it's more so just focused on fire energy, the energy of a thing, the essence of a thing, and the divine masculine. Divine feminine is not heavily featured in this particular new moon, although there's lots of lessons for her, um, or coming through the divine feminine energy fields, I will say. What I'm going to ask you to do in your listening is this. Many times I will speak to polaric energy. I'll say, if you feel like you are working divine feminine or you feel like you are working divine masculine, listen for that, right? This new moon, I'm not going to do that. In this new moon, I'm going to be really focused on the energy of divine masculine, which we all have, regardless of how you are experiencing the world of gender. We all have the polarity of divine masculine energy, which is about the provision, the protection, the sovereignty. It is about that energy of having that backbone that allows us to stand upright and stand for what we believe in. It allows us to go out in the world and create or procure and bring back, right? And we all have that within us, that energy to do those things. It comes from the masculine energetic field. This new moon, in particular, is asking us to heal masculine distortions, but I've noticed in my sessions with twins specifically, who want to talk about their twin connection, a very specific type of distortion that's manifesting in the fields of, people who identify as women, but it's a distortion in divine masculine energy. So I'm going to unpack that now. They have an internal distortion in their own divine masculine energy, which is perpetuating separation in their connections. And this new moon is giving us all a chance to heal that. Now, you don't necessarily have to identify as a woman in order to recognize yourself in what I'm about to share. Okay. So, the thing about this, the distortion that I'm seeing, and I talked about this in the Lightworker energy update, is this energy of um, I can do it all by myself. I'm strong. I don't need anyone. I can take this all on. I'll heal for both of us. I will ascend for both of us. I don't need to have any needs in the connection. I have a stiff upper lip. I can just hold space and keep calm and carry on. I don't need to say anything about what I'm feeling. I don't need to say anything about my needs. I can keep it all in and keep it all moving. And unfortunately, anytime we go to extremes, we have a rubber band effect where we push the pendulum all the way to an edge and it swings all the way back before it stops in the middle. And the pendulum swing, if you're living from that place in your connection, which, it may be hard to recognize, but I'll give some examples in a minute. If you're living from that place in your connection, unfortunately, one of the things that will unfold as the pendulum swings to the other extreme before finding balance is, F this, I'm doing what I need to do for me. They can take care of themselves. I don't they're doing them. They don't have any consideration for me. So why would I consider them? There's this other extreme of I don't need to consult with anybody when I'm making changes or making decisions in the connection that impact both of us, but I'm making them from my own space and my own energy based on what I'm experiencing without ever revealing what I'm experiencing. I'm just going to make these decisions for us. Okay, without revealing your heart, revealing your thoughts, just drawing conclusions and making decisions. without actually sharing where those came from or how you feel, and making this a collaborative co-creation and connection. And so some examples of the way that I've been seeing this. Again, this is an energy, doesn't have to be that you're male or female, right? Examples include making the decision that it's best for both of us that we do X or do Y, not communicate or communicate, or making the decision that it's both for best of us if I move out or if you move out, or I'm making the decision that it's best for both of us that there's, no that there's no intimacy, or there's definitely intimacy, just there's no collaboration, there's no communication. I'm just deciding based on what I'm seeing and drawing my conclusions that this is what's needed. I'm deciding you can't handle my emotions, so I'm going to not share them. I've decided that you will never understand me, so I'm going to shut down and stop communicating. I've decided that you are fill in the blank, so therefore I'm going to blah, blah, blah. Now, that's not to discount experiences that you may be having in actuality where, there has been some level of, in your world feeling, misunderstood, or feeling like they made decisions for you. That can be there, right? But in the world of non-distortion, when it comes to masculine energy, when we get into the true union with self and we truly integrate our own masculine energy, um, we don't allow it all and just never say anything if we're hurting. We don't just hold space for whatever they're doing and say nothing if it really is impacting us. We don't do it all and then not complain, um, or deny that we're having feelings about it. If we're really coming into this union with self and allowing our masculinity to not operate in distortion, this is about being able to be in touch enough with ourselves to know what we feel and what we need and speak to it with zero make wrong for the other person or about the other person. We don't make a decision that they're not mature enough, that they're not insightful enough, that they're not bright enough, that they're to this, to that, da 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 da. We don't project our own not enoughness issues onto them. We just stand for us while being fully connected with them. It's honoring both people in the connection as sovereign and whole and capable with integrity, and seeing our own mirror while also being willing to, if there's really problematic behavior going on, name it, show them their mirror and how that's impacting us emotionally, spiritually, how we feel. We don't just make decisions and draw conclusions for everyone, right? We stay connected to ourselves while staying connected to them without needing to disconnect in order to be connected with ourselves. Now, there's a group of people I am not talking to when it comes to this, and you guys know who you are. These are people who have experienced outright abuse, people who, there has been physical, verbal, financial, emotional violence in your situation. I'm not talking to you. There's a different thing going on in circumstances like that. This does not pertain to that. Creating separation in a circumstance where abuse is going on and getting yourself to safety is a necessary step. And this new moon in Leo will facilitate that for you if you're willing to have the courage to move on it, to get yourself to safety, or at least seek support that can help you get to safety. People who are experiencing abuse, I'm not talking to you. I'm specifically talking to people who have a counterpart where there's just been so many triggers that they've allowed themselves to believe that separation is preferable to connection because it's too hard, and I put that in air quotes, to stay connected with themselves while connecting with the other person. Okay. Truth strength, true power in our masculine energy is knowing that no matter what they say or don't say, do or don't do, or how they show up or how they don't, we have it in us to be with it all without shutting down, without building walls, without blocking out, without running away. Now, that doesn't mean that they don't hurt us, that we don't feel hurt by some of their choices, their words, their actions. We can still feel hurt. What it means is that the choice to love is backed up well enough by our communication and healing tools that fear isn't forcing us into patterns of perpetuating separation and disconnection. Because that's not union with self. That's not healing. That's not love. That's just letting shadow win via masculine distortion. That's the masculine distortion in particular, in this case that I'm speaking about, is all or nothing constructs. When we really stand in the center of our masculine energy and masculine divinity, masculine energy can hold all without needing to shut down, disconnect, externally build walls, because there's enough internal boundaries to hold us safe. We don't need to create external boundaries. Okay. And so that masculine distortion, that all or nothingness that I'm referring to, is I see this a lot in my sessions where people get to a point where they're out of tools. They don't know what to do next. And so instead of saying, I'm out of tools and I'm really hurting and I want to stay connected, can we talk about this? They go from being it all, doing it all, I'm going to handle it all, to absolute nothing. I'm going to disconnect, dissociate, shut this down, and create separation. And they default to the nothingness when being given all, where giving all gets their feelings hurt, right? And so, again, those are extremes. The pendulum stands in the middle when we're truly in union with ourselves. And so that's one of the many. There are many, many, many masculine distortions. There are many, many, many feminine distortions, right? But this one in particular, I'm seeing show up a lot in sessions, as people are starting to get closer and closer to this union window energy that's pulling, pulling, pushing, pushing for them to figure it out. And then the triggers are just like, trigger me this, trigger me that, trigger me all day, every day. There's just triggers, 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 triggers everywhere throughout the interaction. And so because of, which is what a union window will do, it'll bring this stuff up so it can get cleared. The thing that I'm seeing in the shadow that, male or female, doesn't matter, the twin who would listen to my content, let's say, is finding themselves experiencing is shutting down in the face of those triggers instead of believing in their bigness enough, their divinity enough to be in the face of the triggers and open up. Okay. So this new moon is giving us the chance to heal this distortion through emotional availability, emotional transparency, vulnerability, openness in connection. It's giving us the empowerment to say, hey, I really want to be connected, but given what I'm experiencing and how I'm experiencing it, I just don't know how. I really want to be open, but I'm feeling myself shutting down. And here's why. I don't know what I need, but here's where I'm struggling. Are you willing to at least listen? And maybe we can be in the co-creation together. What do you need? How are you feeling? I see you shutting down. I see you disconnecting. What's happening? Talk to me, right? These kinds of conversations at this new moon in Leo will go a tremendously long way in allowing the union energy to have a place to land in between you and your counterpart. And even if you and your counterpart aren't in communication, you can have these conversations with yourself. I see myself shutting down. What's happening? Like, why? When did that start? And then what was happening just before it? I'm feeling myself acting out. I know I have a need, but I can't seem to name it. Where can I go to help me understand getting the need met? I really want to be connected in this, that, or the other circumstance, family, work, friendship, but I can see myself feeling misunderstood. What part of me is feeling misunderstood, and what do I need to reveal so that I don't completely cut off? Right? These are the things that this new moon in Leo is giving us the opportunity in our masculine energy to heal so that our masculine energy isn't playing at those extremes of all or nothing in our connections. Okay. So I love it because when Jupiter and the moon speak, it brings all this hope, all this faith, all this optimism. It expands our capacity to reveal, to share, to open up. And this would be the time. Now, I've said to you many times, if you've been listening to the Lightworker energy updates, over the last several lunations, I have said, if you've got an important conversation to have, wait. Now's not the moment. Hold off. I've said this many times. This is the moment. TikTok, baby, have the conversation right now, right now. Like, do not wait, do not delay, do not collect $200, do not pass go. Like, go directly to having the conversation, even if it's awkward, even if your voice shakes, even if you have to write it down instead of saying it out loud. Find your way to be in communication and don't send smoke signals. Don't post. I'm gonna call some of y'all out. Stop posting music on your social media thinking you're clear. That's not clear. Have a conversation. If you want the connection to anchor in the third dimension, have a third dimensional conversation with words. Stop reposting things other people said that make your point for you. Use your words with your person. If you want this to progress, you've got to show up for progressing it. Stop sending smoke signals, people. That's not communication. Actually talk if the talking is available between you and the other person. Okay. These little steps, even if you don't know what the conversation is, just say, hey, I'm struggling, can we talk? Would you just be willing to listen while I try some words out here? These small steps are more union with self than I'm going away and withdrawing all from this connection so that I can work on me. That's, you can do it. I believe in you. You have the ability to open. You were built with it. It's your birthright. You have the ability to connect. We all do. So, where you can connect, use this new moon in Leo to connect. Okay. And this is going to be especially true for those of you who've taken a step in connection this year toward one another. And then, somewhere along the way, you faltered, you've taken a step back. This is a great time to reopen the conversation. Okay. The divine masculine energy here for all of us is empowering us to stay connected with ourselves while simultaneously staying connected with others. It doesn't have to be all or nothing. It doesn't have to be either or. Okay, that's a distortion in masculinity. All right. So hopefully I've explained that well in a clear way. I know, just even writing it down for myself, I'm like, whoa, this makes my heart beat faster. Like this is big stuff. Like I can feel how these kinds of steps will collectively shift us toward greater union energy, greater connection energy, especially now on planet Earth, where we live in an environment of disconnecting and canceling, right? Like let's just cancel this, cancel that person in that person's career, cancel them. when people have the opportunity to grow, give them that chance. That we're all growing beings, right? You would rather somebody talk to you than cancel you, right? So that's that, especially if both of you want the connection to continue. If you're clear you don't want the connection to continue, then this is about having the conversation. Look, I've outgrown this. It's time for us to complete. You know, that's a different thing. But where you both want the connection to continue, this is the moment to have a conversation. Okay. Q&A with Kay is a great container help you figure out what to say and how to move with this. I'm telling you, you've got 48 hours left, and the next 24, that bonus material is extended to you upon the registration, the refund window closing. So 4 weeks, we can get this squared away, because the next 18 months are going to continue to bring these triggers up. And if we cannot find a way to be in communication as they're coming up, unfortunately, we're just going to continue to perpetuate our separation with self, separation with mission, separation with source, soul, family, counterpart. This is the moment to believe in ourselves, that we have the ability to work with whatever shows up. That's divine masculine energy. Okay. If you want to work on it in private reading, just head on over to kmoonastro.com. Links for both Q&A with Kay and getting a reading are below. Now, let's talk about Miss Divine Feminine energy. And again, we're going to talk about it as an energy as opposed to a person this lunation. Because again, there's just so much fire. The next energy is water, and she's sitting in water. He's sitting in fire. These operate more energetically than polaric dynamics associated with a body shape, type, or form. Okay. So in the divine feminine energy, for the twin who watches this content, regardless of your gender, we're still on a healing path. And this is going to be especially true for those who are being asked to change course in divine connection this year. Now, I spoke about this at length in the 2021 messages for twin flames. The channeled messages for twin flames at the beginning of 2021, I remember showing a graphic of a DNA strand separating from itself, the double helix separating. Because what my guides had shown me at that time was there will be some people as we get toward 2023 that will anchor divine love, but not with the person with whom they thought they would. That double helix strand is their single part of that is going to recombine with a different strand. And that will be necessary for their growth. Okay. And I remember at that time, a lot of people were like, what is she on? What is she talking about? That just sounds like crazy talk to me. It's completely unfathomable. But now some of you are seeing it. You're having the experience of recognizing that for reasons, your own reasons and your own connection, your counterpart in this lifetime has both told you and shown you. This is not our lifetime. We met, we've activated, we're growing, and this is as far as it goes. As we move through and toward the peak of this union window in January, this is where divine feminine energies are going to start to find themselves moving through a process of deep letting go, deep release, and the opportunity to recombine with a divinity energy that is aligned with who they are and where they're headed next will begin to show up. Okay. And that's evidenced here as Mars, the soulmate masculine, meets up with the original divine initiator, divine counterpart, that's Uranus there in Taurus, makes aspect to divine feminine energy. Her receptiveness to divine counterpartship in the way divine counterpartship wants to show up via the sextiling energy here, that's an aspect of harmony, is going to allow, and that's divine feminine energy, allowing receptivity for this connection and divine counterpartship to escalate the closer and closer we get toward 2023. Okay. So again, just the person who watches this channel in the connection, you're the person, if your twin has both told you and shown you, yeah, we're not doing this in this lifetime. There's huge release energy all through 2022 and divine counterpart initiation for someone who is ready to roll with you going forward. That energy's here as Uranus activates soulmate energy and elevates it at this time. Okay. The letting go piece, though, ooh, it's thematic for the entirety of the year. So here we have Juno and Pisces. Pisces, the last sign of the zodiac. Pisces, all about releasing, making harmonious aspect to the South Node, and Scorpio energy, all about letting go, endings, resurrection cycles, completions. She is literally letting go of control issues so that connection can happen in the way the connection wants to unfold, not the way that, she wants to dictate. Letting go of attachment to divine love, being with a particular person, letting go of trauma trapped in the soma, in the body, whichever kind of body you've got, letting go of addictions. That's definitely a Scorpio governed thing, is addictions, letting go of any and all addictions. Pisces too. Pisces deals with addictions as well. So letting those go, letting go of a particular spiritual path as the only path, or a physical addiction that blocks connection to self, or a spiritual addiction that blocks connection to the divine. I mean, the letting go themes are endless. Letting go, letting go, letting go. 2022 is the year before we walk into both counterparts coming together in Aries in January, Aries being the first sign of the zodiac. All of our feminine energies are shedding what was, grieving what's been, releasing what is no more, what cannot be anymore, so that the new cycle, divine counterparts meeting in the first sign of the zodiac in January, the new cycle can begin. Okay. And this is a pretty big letting go. So if there's been a lot of emotional release throughout this period of time, do what you can to move with it, right? Don't try to repress it or shut it down. Make the necessary adjustments to the structures of your life and schedule to make room for the release. This energy is going to be with us through the remainder of this year. She stays in Pisces until we get into the new year. Pisces isn't all just about letting go, though, and neither is Scorpio. We have a lot of art and creativity and transformational self-expression coming forward. There's a lot of art and creativity related to all things sound, music, sound healing, light language, using the voice as a way to self-express, crying, keening, all of that. There's also something in the world of spiritual gifts opening up like a gajillion percent in our divine feminine energy fields. And again, whatever body you got, those who are aware of their own spiritual gifting, you may notice your intuition this year has been on like 100, and it's just ramping up, especially as Juno sits so close at this time to Neptune. Our connection to the collective subconscious, to the ethers, to direct channeled information, to the information that's available through the ethers. This kind of thing, for those of you who have spiritual gifts, you may really noticing your gifts amplifying through 2022. Just an opening up to greater capacity to manifest your God self incarnate here on earth. Okay. All of this is an invitation and initiation into the truth of love without attachment for both divine masculine and divine feminine energy fields. Divine masculine love without attachment at this new moon is all about, let me just write that down. That'll probably be the title of this video. That's all about getting unattached to the idea that, it's all or nothing and it's all up to us, and getting unattached, like loving in a way that's like, I'm capable of being with all that is. I don't have to disconnect just to be with me. I can be with me and I can be with you at the same time. The divine feminine releasing attachment has a lot to do with emotional attachment to what the journey is, what it was not. Like the truth of love is really getting revealed to her at this time. So eyes wide open around, okay, clearly, if this is exiting, I have to understand the divine purpose of what I'm releasing so that what is meant to be is able to come in. um Loads of releasing toxicity patterns that have kept us stuck at this new moon, which I'm thrilled to freaking see. Thank God, we all needed that. And this would have really come through some of the revelations that occurred during Cancer season, the last 30 or so days. The revelations during Cancer season popped our eyes wide open to what's not working that we can no longer pretend about anymore. And that was an exciting series of revelations. And so, where you're needing to make change, this would have been revealed to you through that season, because emotionally things would have just felt so incongruent and unbearable and uncomfortable that that would have been your signal. This is what has to change. This is what can no longer stay the same. And so Cancer season gave us the kind of headline, hey, this is what you're going to be releasing during Leo season. This is what you have to let go of to step into your Leo energy sovereignty. Okay. Um, so this really is the energy through December and January, like I said, in the divine feminine energy fields, with small adjustments at each lunation as different planets aspect her. Thematically for her, for all of us in our DF fields, it's about letting go. It's about releasing. In ways that, again, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. And this is in the divine feminine energy fields, the opportunity to rectify distortions with our own internal divine masculine energy so that we can be a strong container for our internal divine feminine energies. Okay. If you want to work on this, like I said, session links are below. If you want to meet privately, Q&A with Kay is available if you want to work with me through that program to create the clarity you need and the momentum you need. A couple of mundane things, mundane astrology being kind of like, the people parts of this and the more traditional interpretations of this. I'm not going to spend too long on this because otherwise this video will be too long. And this is just like, I don't find that part interesting, if I'm being really honest, like reporting on, well, your person will do this and your person will do that. It doesn't seem very growth related to me anymore. Working with and understanding both energies for any human being does seem to allow people far more growth. So, and I think the energy came through that way because this is a very growth and evolution heavy period of time. So I'm just going to briefly mention the mundane stuff. Like I said, Mars conjunct Uranus and Taurus, trine Juno here. There is new divine masculine energy getting activated in divine feminine energy fields via a direct connection. So if you are a divine feminine and you identify as only in that polarity, you may find at this time that there's a male energy flowing through your world that is leveling up and leveling up and leveling up, activated by Uranus to meet you where you're at. We've got Venus connecting with Lilith at the moment. That Venus Lilith connection is square to the divine masculine. Venus represents the feminine soulmate, divine masculine energy there in Jupiter and Aries. They're at a 90-degree angle to one another. And this may be the moment when a female soulmate energy who was very interesting in the springtime cycles right on out the door at this time because of Lilith energy, which can be a little pushy and based in rejection stories. That pushiness comes through that. Now, if you happen to be in some form of 3D romantic union, this is a period of time where the two of you, you see how the two of these, they're not very far apart at all. Um, you see most of the time you get them and like one's like all the way over here, the other one's like all the way over there, and they're not spending as much time close together in the astrological year. 2022 is very different. They are spending a lot of time quite close together by degrees. So for those of you in some level of 3D traditional union of any configuration, this is maybe a time where you both feel closer than ever, but also facing very different challenges that need more self attention, more self love, more energy from your individual self to be able to navigate those challenges. So you guys can have some really great conversations in this energy. As I was saying, great time for conversations. We've got, now Neptune and Mercury come together to be positively aspecting. This is a great time to be able to understand your needs at a deeper level and then speak to them in a more congruent and aligned way. So, where you can have conversations at this new moon in Leo, please, 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 please open your mouth, even if you don't know what to say. All I ask of you, if you religiously listen to this content and you love the work and you believe in what I'm sharing with you, the only thing I'm asking of you is just don't send smoke signals. This is the time to open your heart and open your mouth. All right. Beloveds, it's been real. Thank you so much for liking, watching, subscribing, and sharing. I'll see you at the next lunation and in Q&A with Kay if you're signing up. Take great care. Bye for now.